Hello, racing fans. Welcome to another edition of our Get Hot, Stay Hot podcast, co-hosted by yours truly, Peter Rotundo Sr., and my partner in crime, Lee Davis. Well, there's plenty of racing action coming up this weekend across the country, especially on Saturday, June 6th, as there are multiple graded stakes races being contested at Belmont Park, Churchill Downs, and Santa Anita. Having said that, Lee and I will provide you with our selections for the Grade 1 Run Happy Carter Handicap to be run at Belmont Park for 3-year-olds and up at 7 furlongs, the Grade 3 Dogwood Stakes for 3-year-old fillies at Churchill Downs at 7 furlongs, and last but not least, from Santa Anita, the Santa Anita Derby, which is a major prep for the Kentucky Derby. It's going to be run at 1.8 miles for strictly 3-year-olds, and the Grade 1 Santa Anita Gold Cup at 1.25 miles for 3-year-olds and up. I'll also be making an announcement regarding a new gig I will be undertaking, but we will get to all of the aforementioned a bit later in the show. But first, hey Lee, why don't you tell our listeners about how you made out at your doctor's appointment this week?
Okay, well, obviously because of the pandemic, you haven't been able to go to the doctor. So any kind of doctor that I need medicine for, they just send it to me. They just send it to the pharmacy, and you don't actually see the doctor, which is, I know, a little bit crazy. But I guess they figure your situation's not going to change, so they just at least send you the medicine, because they won't let you go to the office because who has the coronavirus, who doesn't. They can't keep the people separated from each other. So this week I get a call from my pulmonary doctor, who I saw a couple of times. I took a stress test and I took a few other tests, and he wanted to do a checkup and go over my chest, my heart, and all that stuff.
How was your stress test when you took it the first time?
Yeah, it was good. I was able to do it, and it's very difficult to take a stress test. That people know that have taken them. That it's not easy to do. It's you feel like you're gonna die when you're on the run on the treadmill. Right. So now I go. They call me in to go. I go there. I put the mask on. Now before I walk in the door, a lady, a nurse, meets me at the front door with she points this thing at my forehead. It was a thermometer, which I didn't realize. She pointed this thing in my head. I was like, well, what is this thing? Right. So she just wants to make sure I don't have a fever. So now, bang, she gives me the thermometer. I'm good. So I get past the first level. Like, there's different levels to get before you actually even
Wait a minute. So she didn't put it in your mouth or under your armpit, right, or rectal for that matter. Right, exactly. So she put it on top of your head?
Yeah, they point it to your head. They press the button, and then you see if you got a fever or not. So I don't have a fever.
Okay, good.
So now I get to the next level. Now there's people in the office, but everybody's 6 feet apart. So everybody's following the rules. So now finally I get to go see the doctor. Now, he's a little Indian guy, nice guy. He comes walking in, and like I tower over him, but he's always smiling when I go to see him, and I always why he has a smirk on his face, and for no reason. I never ask him, but he just doesn't know. So now I said, he looks at my chart, and he weighs me and everything. So now he goes, well, last time you were here, you were 260 pounds last year. Now you're 230. You lost 30 pounds. I said, well, that's what you told me to do. You told me to go on a diet. He goes, yeah, but nobody ever listens to me. You're the first guy to actually listen to me. So, which was good. He was happy about that. And, I lost 30 pounds, so I was happy.
Right.
And, everything that he checked, everything was good. And so I said, do I have to come back anymore? And he goes, no, you're good. You're 2 years before you have to come back.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
Wow, you really got a good, clean bill of health there.
So, it was pretty good. But my doctor's normal. I know you go to the doctor, but I know the stories of your doctor's crazy. Tell the people about your doctor that you go see.
Well, which I used to go to. I mean, this is going way back.
Yeah, but you used to go because you can't go anymore.
Right. But several years ago, I went to the dentist, actually, at NYU. My sister was a dental assistant there. And they check your blood pressure before they do a root canal, okay? So they checked my blood pressure.
Well, they did it once. A heart attack.
Right. They did it once. They did it. They looked again. He says, I can't do it. I said, well, what happened? Your blood pressure is 210 over 150. He says, you're a walking stroke. I says, oh, my God. I says, he says, you better go to the doctor now. So anyway, My
Go to the
niece,
hospital?
No,
The
no.
doctor?
Well, my niece set me up with a doctor. I go in there, and the guy was like Dom DeLuise. He was like a comedian. I go in there, he takes my blood pressure, and he yells out, "Security, security!" I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "Oh, I'm just joking. You know what I mean? Your blood pressure's so high." You know. I said, "But you can't. Come on, you're gonna give me a heart attack here." Anyway, he gave me this, the medicine, the Diavan or whatever, and it lowered my blood pressure. So now I go to this diner with my friend Carmine every day, and he said to me, "You know what? Instead of going to this comedian doctor that you have, I got a doctor right next door. So after we get out of the diner, we could go and you could make an appointment with this guy." So I said, "Set me up one." So I go, it's a 9 o'clock appointment. So it's like 5 minutes to 9. I get near the door. The door's locked, but they had the blinds outside the door. So I look through the window and I look and I says, "Carmine, we're early here." I says, "The janitor's vacuuming the rugs." He says, "What do you mean, the janitor?" He says, "Let me look." He looks. He says, "No, that's the doctor." "The doctor? What doctor? Vacuums his own rugs, and you want me to go to this guy?
Right, you're off to a bad
what are you,
start.
nuts?" So I went in and I told him my situation and everything. He said, "No problem. I'll write up the script," and that was good. So now I've been going every 3 months. I go, and this one day I go in. And in the waiting room, they have the TV set on, and they got Channel 7, ABC. Right. And lo and behold, what's on is The View, okay?
Oh, God, we're not
and now Joy Behar starts saying some crazy stuff like she normally does. And I guess I feel my head getting hot, and the blood is rushing to my head. But anyway, I go in like 10 minutes later, and the guy, which again, the medicine that he's given me, it's 120/70 usually, whatever.
Right.
I go in, and he goes, takes my blood pressure, and he says, "What the hell happened to you?" He says, "It's 150/110. He says, "Well, you may have to go to the hospital."
You're not taking your medicine.
He says, "You're not taking." I said, "No, doctor." I says, "I got an excuse." He says, "What?" I says, "You had the TV outside in the waiting room. The View was on. Joy Behar was talking some stuff, and I think he's a big Trump guy, a conservative guy." He says, "Oh, in that case, I'll drop 25 points off the top and the bottom. So it was 150/110. You really had 125/85. You're good to go." Gave me the prescription, and that was it. I mean, it's a true story. This is the type of people I go. But the worst was when you had to get an epidural. You had a bad back. Tell the people about your back.
Yeah, no, I had a back operation. I had 2 back operations, actually. And every once in a while, it would act up, and I'd have all these pains. So my pain management doctor used to send me to the hospital, and he would give me an epidural. And it would last like a month. And I won't be in pain for like a month. And then after a while, it wasn't good enough, and I was going to have to get another operation. So, you had to take me because you can't drive there. So you would have to go there, and as my friends are going to take me home, there he is.
Right.
I got to show him whatever, and
right. Well, that's what the thing. So he drove to my house, and then I had to drive him. But I woke up that day with a tremendous pain in my big toe, and maybe it was sympathy pains because I know the guy was getting an epidural. Who knows? And we're close, so maybe some things like that.
Right.
They say those things anyway. So I drive. And he gets his epidural, everything's okay. I come back, and now my toe is killing me. So Lee's got a doctor in Jersey.
Right, yeah, no, a friend of mine in Jersey happens to be a foot doctor. So I says, let me call him. We'll see what we could do. Maybe we could get you in because we're going to Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup, and we got to get you walking. Otherwise, we're going to have a really big problem.
Right.
So I call him up. He says, yeah, come at this time, but come through the back. I don't want anybody to see you coming in because if people have appointments, I don't want to start a war. People get aggravated. So come through the back, you knock on the door, and I'll let you in, and I'll give him the shot real quick and straighten him out.
I don't know if any women who have given birth before could relate to my pain here. They say that's the worst pain in the world, giving birth. Right. Did you ever get a needle in the bone of your big toe? I saw stars. Thank God I'm a guy and not a woman, because I don't think I could have gone through that pain of childbirth. I tell you what, that's what it felt like. It was so severe.
But did it work? That's the question.
It did not work, and I did limp the whole
3-4
days at Del Mar.
I thought you were just doing that.
So now I go back to my blood pressure doctor, and I tell him my situation. So he starts prescribing some medicine for me. I was in pain. I walked with a limp, a bad limp, for 9 months. My son said to me, "Dad, will you stop going to this guy?" So meanwhile, I go to him.
Right, because nobody has gout for 9 months.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right. Well, you know how I got gout. I figured how I got it. You know, Novelli's, the deli, the Italian deli on Clark Avenue.
Yeah.
They make the rarest roast beef. It was so good. For 2 months straight,
Yeah,
I had
you love
roast
beef. I hate roast beef.
2 months straight, I ate roast beef sandwiches.
There you go.
And you're not supposed to eat red meat.
Right.
You know, it's bad.
Roast beef, drinking wine.
Right. So I'm in bad shape, you know. And so anyway, I go to the guy, and he's on the computer now. He's going over the pills that he's giving me for the gout. And he goes, "Oh, my God." He says, "I'm giving you this water pill. I'm not supposed to give you that thing. That increases the acidity in the gut. Forget about it." So I went, that's it. I walked out.
I gotta go to a different
I went to a
doctor.
specialist,
Right,
and I've not walked with a limp ever since.
Right.
I could go to Beaumont Steaks, the original distance of 1.5 miles now with no problem. But I tell you,
Oh, God.
this is what you're dealing with. But
Yeah, that's our life. It's a crazy life that we got.
But you know what? But you know what I did though, Lee. I said to my friend Vinny, you know the
Giuliani's guy.
right.
Yeah.
He said to me, "Why don't you? You know, you were in the army. I was like, I was a clerk typist in the army, but during the Vietnam War, I didn't go to Vietnam.
Right, but you're still a
I was
veteran.
still a veteran.
Right.
He
You
says,
still get
go
the
over
benefits
there.
of veteran.
They give you. So they gave me a battery test. They covered from head to toe. Everything was good except one thing. My carotid artery is on the left side. It's 70% blocked. So that means the blood flow is only going 30%
Right, to your brain.
to my brain.
Right.
And 50% on the other side. So
Right.
I'm working with 30% function of my brain.
Well, that explains a lot now.
No.
That explains a lot.
But I'm saying I think I'm still sharp with the 30%. If they ever got this thing out, it'd be impossible to deal with me. I can't be sharper than I'm sharp, I
Right,
think.
you already look like you're 40.
Right.
And now you're going to think like you're 40.
Right.
Forget about
It's
it.
gonna be
You'll
great.
be impossible to
Right,
live with.
Right. But they said at the moment I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to watch it. Every 6 months I got to go for a scan.
Right.
And I should be okay, though. But anyway, speaking about being young and everything,
Well, you're lucky.
No,
You look
I
young.
know,
I
but-
look like I'm 100.
but I remember, God rest my mother's soul, when I met you in 1991. We went to the Meadowlands a few months later at night,
Right.
and my mother came, and she thought you were a wonderful guy, which you are,
that's right, yeah.
and she was all happy to meet you and everything. And I said, and you were 29, I think, at the time.
Right.
And
29 or maybe 26.
no, well, let's see. You were born in '64. You were 27.
Yeah, 27.
So the following week, I see. I said, "Ma, how you like my friend Lee?" He said, "Oh, he's a real good guy. How old do you think he is? 46, 47? I thought you were 26. It can't be possible."
And I was my 20s, and she thought
Right,
I was in my
you were
40s. Well, that's an issue that I have now going forward. With it doesn't get easy as I get older. Now I'm 56. Right. I'm 56 years old, and there's a couple of crazy things which I still can't get. I mean, I know I look older, but I don't think I look that old. So I go.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you don't look that old? You were 45 years old when we went to the movies. You got online and you asked for a senior ticket. The girl didn't even bat an eyelash. She gave you the senior ticket.
that's
That's
true,
for
yeah.
62 and over. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
no, that's true. So I guess I look 20 years older than, or 30 years older than I am. But the thing that aggravates me more than anything, my mother, who's 80 years old,
Yes.
I said, "Ma, well, let's go get our nails done, feet done. I'll treat you. I'll take you, whatever." She, "Oh, that's so nice of you, whatever." Okay, good. We go to the place. I make an appointment. Now we get to the place, and now the woman's, the woman's at the front door, and she says, "Okay, you got a 1:00 appointment?" "Yes, Mr. Davis. Thank you. Thanks for coming, whatever." He says, "You and your wife come this way." And I said, "Me and my wife?" I said, "It's my mother." "Oh, that's your mom." I go, "She's 80. I'm 50 some odd years old. I forgot how old, maybe I was 55, 54 at the time. They think I look 80. And I'm going, "I don't look 80. And she goes, "Oh, well, maybe your mother looks good for her age." My mother's 80.
Right,
She
she
looks
does- I tell you
good
one
for her
thing.
age. But she's still, you can tell she's not my wife.
She doesn't have many wrinkles, your mother. So
No.
maybe it's a compliment to you in a way.
Yeah.
In a very odd way.
Being nice to my mother.
Right.
And it happens all the time. We go to the diner. You and your wife come this. There's not one time when I'm with her where we go anywhere where they don't say, "You and your wife come this way." And I go, and after a while, now I don't even question it. I just say okay and I go.
But this is when you had hair, or now that you turned bald? I mean,
No, both. Like
Both?
even when I had hair, we went to the Hilton that time.
Oh,
And now you got to realize my father passed away in 1994. Now this is say 2000 and I don't know 2005, 2010, whatever it
well,
was.
the Hilton is a place for singles. We used to go on Friday nights.
It was going Friday nights, try to meet women, but there were a lot of older women. So now I'm sitting down, and some woman comes walking up to me, and my father's name was Richard. Now he would be 75 or 80 if you know. No, he'd be like about 75 years old if he were alive. This woman comes up to you, oh my God, Richard, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my God. And I got my hand over my head going, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm smiling, and I don't even say I'm his son. I just go, oh, all right. And I hug her and kiss her. And she goes, so this has been going on forever. You know what I mean? I mean, there's one after the other after the other.
But my favorite story, by far, about age with you, is on the boardwalk when you met. I introduced you to a woman named Linda. Right. Tell the fans about that.
Yeah. So, we're on the boardwalk. We go to the boardwalk a lot. We lay in the sun, whatever. So now there's a woman, and she's pretty. She's not a bad-looking woman. And I would think she's in her 50s.
Right.
Maybe she's mid-50s or whatever. Yeah. So her name was Linda. And Carmela, that was one of the girls, the girl used to go on the boardwalk and never have her shoes on. So after a while, walking around the boardwalk, no shoes, your feet get dirty, obviously. Right. So Carmela, our friend, would say, why are you hanging out with this dirty toes Linda? So it just stuck. I started calling her Dirty Toes Linda. So anyway, who were you with last night? Oh, I was with Dirty Toes Linda. Oh, really? So now I meet Dirty Toes Linda at the boardwalk. At the Hilton. I meet her at the Hilton. We're hanging out. And now I had an office on South Avenue, which was right near the Hilton at the time. So I figure, you know what? Let me take this woman back to the thing. I got a couch there. We can fool around. I don't have to go for the money for a hotel. Not that I'm cheap, but I figured, it's a quick move. So now I drive to the place, and I go to get in, and I go to open the door, and it won't open. The alarm goes off. The alarm starts ringing. So now I get a little nervous, but I'm not going to run away. It's my place, so I'm not worried. I'm going to run away. I'm not going to run away. So the cops come, right? Now, before the cops come, we're in the car. So I said, let's wait for the cops, and when they come, I'll explain to what happened. So now we're sitting there, and we're all, hot and bothered, had a couple of drinks and whatever, and we start fooling around in the car. One thing leads to another. She's got no clothes on. We're fooling around, this and that. Now suddenly you hear bang, a tap on the door, on the window of the door, of the car. So now I'm like, oh my God, hurry up, get dressed. I'm yelling at her, this, that, here. So now the cop's banging again, open the window. So now I roll down the window, and he looks at the two of us, and she's getting dressed, and he says, aren't you guys a little bit too old to be doing this? And I go, what do you mean too old? I said, I'm 46 years old. He said, that's not too old. And he goes, you're 46? He says, there's no way you're 46. I go, yeah, I'm 46. He goes, and now his partner's in the car. He goes, hey, Joey, come here. I got to show you. Now, the alarms are ringing off. People could be stealing stuff. He has no idea why.
He's not worried about you breaking or entering or you fornicating in the car, but he's worried, or not worried, he cannot believe that you're only 46.
Right, and he's making a big production. Now I'm saying, I think you're involved. I think there's a cat like that. Someone's doing this to me. It's impossible. So he goes, Joey, come here. You got to see it. Joe, you believe this guy? He thinks he said to me he's 46. Other guy starts laughing. He goes, he's 46. Let me see your ID. So then I go show them. Now, this is what I've been dealing with. Don't you understand? It's so stressful. But you promised me at some point in my life, I don't know when, it'll all even out somehow.
You're 56? Yeah. When you're 75, people will come up to you and say, you look good for your age. You look just about right. You know what I mean? But it's going to be.
But I'm not going to look 90.
You're not going to look.
So
90.
At some point,
you'll always look 75, 78.
Right.
Forever. So
you know what?
Just keep that.
At least I got something.
So you got to just hope that you live to 100 and you still look 75. You look good. Look at it that way. Look at the plus.
Oh God! All right, can we start talking about horses?
Yeah, we're going to talk about horses. Let's start off here. We've got Saturday. We've got the. At Belmont Park, the Run Happy Carter. handicap at 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. Always a good race in New York. Lee, who did you come up with?
Well, I found it really difficult to race. I was, going through the race, and I'm a speed guy. So a lot of times when I'm looking at the race, I'm looking for a horse that maybe could, jump out to the lead and maybe get a clear lead. And I'm looking for the race, and I can't really find anybody. None of them are speed horses. There's a couple of stalkers and there's a couple of front running types, but not real speed. So I found it very difficult. But which I would never pick in a million years. I can't believe that I picked this horse. I picked Frisian Fire, or Ferenzi Fire is the name of the horse.
Ferenzi Fire.
Right. I picked him, the one horse. He likes Belmont Park. He's got some speed, so he's always close to the pace. He's close to the pace horse. He's been working good. You got Kelly Bream, who's a 20% guy. And now I know where he's coming from. Obviously, Jason Service he's coming from, and everybody's going to question that. And it makes sense to question it. But my point is, it's been a month or two already that this horse has been out of that barn and into this barn. So looking at the work pattern, I know he likes Belmont previously. I'm taking a shot with him. I'm going to go with the one Ferenzi Fire, and underneath I'm going to go with. I made 1-7-10-3 for a superfecta. And the way I do it, I'll probably key to 1 in the first and second hole over this 3, 7, and 10. And again, another horse, American Anthem. Normally, I would never pick an American Anthem.
Right.
But, he's another one. He might inherit the lead. I don't even know. He might, if the one doesn't go to lead, he might go to the lead.
There's a lot of stalkers in the race. That's
right.
sure.
So you don't know who's going to, and, he's rounding back into form again. He's 1 for 1, at the track, 4 for 9 at the distance, and he's gonna probably wind up getting a nice trip. So he was the one that I picked for. He's the one that I picked second, and third was what did I pick for third? I picked. I picked Mind Control. Yeah, I love. I'm always a big Mind Control fan. I just think it's gonna be tough for Mind Control to win this race. I just find I think he'll get a piece of the pie, but I don't think he'll win. And then I picked still having fun to round out the soup at a big price. Probably Dylan Davis will be 20 or 30 to 1 in the race.
Definitely.
Right? So how about you? What'd you do?
I went a different way, Lee. I went with number 2, Performer. I mean, this horse, since added Lasix, Shug McGahee added Lasix June of 2019. He's won 4 straight last year, 2 of them at Belmont. He's won races at 6.5 furlongs, 1 mile and a 16th, and 1 mile and an 8th at Aqueduct, the Discovery Grade 3 race back in November. He's been freshened up. He's working out great. He was working out earlier at Payson Park, and now at Belmont his last couple of works. His last work, May 30, was 59 breezing. This horse has tactical speed, and if you look at his bias, from the start of his career,
he's done
better, 71, 87, 96, 102 is
right.
late. That was in November. So I think he's set to run a huge race here, and when you look at the race,
he's won 4 in a row.
Right, he's undefeated. He's 2 for 2 at Belmont. I think he's going to run a huge race. Now, Ferenzi Fire, definitely he would be, to me, a logical choice. But with the Jason Service involvement, I'm going to just
it turns you off.
Draw a line and take a shot to beat him and say he's not the same horse. I mean, nothing against Kelly Breen. He's a great trainer,
like Kelly Breen,
but I'm going to try to beat him.
Right.
I'm going to go with Nitros, the 4 with Jose Ortiz for second, Steve Asmussen's horse. This horse is a closer. If they do, have an honest pace and they make backstretch moves, some of these stalkers, and it could set it up for somebody to close. I mean, I don't think he could win. I think he could get second or third. So I'm putting him in. And Mind Control, obviously loves Belmont Park. No, doesn't love Belmont Park, but he loves the distance. He's 4 for 6 at the distance. Actually, the only race he's run badly, out of the
only
last
ran one
8
time at
times,
Belmont.
was the one time in the Woody Stevens.
Right.
He ran 8 by 4 lengths. I mean, he stumbled and checked at the start.
But he's the class of the race,
But
really.
He is the
if you
class.
look, he's the class of the race.
But you can't really knock him, but you have to use him. So I'm going to go with 2, 4, 10. Shug McGahee. I'm going to be loyal to Phipps. We know the Phipps family very well.
Right.
And let's.
So the both of us, at least we agree on one thing. We're not going to pick any. We don't want anything to do with Vacoma.
No,
Right?
Vacoma, yeah.
Well,
Vacoma.
nothing to do with Vacoma. And he'll be short with Castellano. He's going to be a short price, too.
Now, I remember vividly the race when he won
With the leg.
The Bluegrass when
Right,
he
with
won
the
by
leg.
3.5.
Yeah.
He looked like his leg was falling off down the leg. I mean, he just stood
He's
in my
got that-
mind.
yeah, I know,
And
yeah.
even though he's bounced back from that, I mean, he had a bad run in the Derby, and but his last race he ran 7 furlongs at Gulfstream, 102 buyer in the Sir Shackleton, and I mean he ran pretty well there. But I'm just gonna throw him out and just stick with what I said before, 2, 4, 10. All right, let's go to the Dogwood Stakes at Churchill. That's at 7 furlongs for 3-year-old fillies. That's an interesting race.
Yes, definitely an interesting race. And let's see who I landed on. I landed on the 3. The 3, Bayerness. Yeah, that's the one I like. 6-1 shot, which is a good price. And let me see, should get a good trip in this race. And 1 for 1 in the wet, just in case it does rain.
Right.
It's got 2 nice works, 2 bullets, which I like. And again, this horse is going to wind up with a nice, find himself with a nice trip. And so I made him on top. I actually made 3, 5, 8, 1. I made the Bayerness. I made Magic Dance. And who was the 8? Oh, Edgeway. Edgeway is that competitive edge filly. They paid $275,000 for the horses. 2 for 3 at 6 furlongs. Tyler Bay, Sadler. So and it's got some nice works too. So I put her in as well. And Clavetti. They paid $900,000 for this horse, Clavetti. $900,000. Off the turf, on the dirt. It's a big jump to a grade 3 from where she's coming from. But at 15-1, I'll put her in. So
Well, I made the 3-second by Ernest. Anyway, I'm going to go with number 4, Ain't No Elmers. He won his first 2 races this year at Fairgrounds, 2 sprint races, 6 furlongs, won them easily. Then they put him in a $100,000 allowance race at Oaklawn, May 2nd, at 1.16 miles. He had a wide post position, raced wide the whole way, and just tied down the lane. I'm going to put a line through that. Brett Calhoun is a great trainer.
yeah, the combination with the jockey train is very high percentage.
right.
They go to 20-something%, 27%.
He's got a great 4 furlong work, May 27th. I think he's primed to run a big race here. And I like your horse second, Bayerness.
Right.
And third, I gave it to Edgeway.
Oh, Edgeway, yeah.
Edgeway.
That's the 8.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the competitive edge horse.
He won a money allowance at Oaklawn Park on April 26th. And I think I'm going to use him in my exotic. So I'm going to go with 4, 3, and 8 at Churchill Downs in the Dogwood.
Right.
And now we've got the Santa Anita races.
Yeah,
Let's
which
do this.
I'm terrible. Santa Anita is over the years is very difficult for me. For some reason, when I look at these races, all the horses look the same. I get so frustrated. But listen, you're a handicapper. You got to figure it out. And what are we doing? The Santa Anita Derby or the Gold Cup?
Santa Anita Derby first. Yeah.
All right, the Santa Anita Derby. I made 167. Friars Road. Who was the 6? The 6 was Honor AP, and the 7 is Authentic. I mean, those 2 are the big chalks in the race, the 6 and the 7. So I was trying to get creative. Again, you can't always beat the favorite, but I always try to. And if I'm right, I'll get paid because the 1 is 20-1. They paid $500,000 for the horse, so they must have felt something in the beginning. And Manny Franco, when he rides with McCarthy, they're 32%. And, a 21-1 in line, and everybody's going to be betting, Mikey Smith and Van Dyke. I'll take my chances with Manny Franco. So I went with 1, 6, and 7.
Well, I've got the same 3 horses, but not in that order. I wasn't as audacious as you. How do you like that word, audacious?
That's a $2 word.
Right? I went with Honor AP, the 6, Authentics for second, and Friars Road 3rd, 671 for me.
All right, so we agreed anyway, not in the right order, in the same order, but we agree. All right, what about the Gold Cup now?
The Gold Cup, boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
You know what? I only picked one horse, and again, I wouldn't bet my 401k on it.
Right.
But being a Chilean bred, I think this horse is a true stayer, and he's run some good races before. Trained by Michael McCarthy, he's going to be with the pace early. I'm going to give him the nod here. Brown Storm, number 4 in the Santa Anita Hollywood Gold Cup. I mean, you think about it. You got Tenfold, he never did anything. Improbable is more...
Tenfold's the first horse I threw out.
Right. Improbable is so frustrating to me. You know, I just... He's so disappointing. You know, Highest Power won the Pacific Classic and did nothing after that.
Right.
Right? And the other two, Midcourt and Parsimony, I really don't like them. By default, I'm picking Brown Storm.
Right. All right. Well, I went with 2, 5, and 1. Midcourt to win, which again, normally I don't try to pick a favorite, but morning line, Victor's 2-1. Sheriffs. I like the blinkers off angle. You know, I'm a blinkers off guy. First time blinkers off. And I'm a fan of Sheriffs. He's got big percentages off layoffs. So to me, I said, you know what? Why try to get too creative? There's only 6 horses in the race, so I picked the 2 and Midcourt, and then I went with the 5 Improbable, who I'm not a big fan of after what he did to us, you know, in so many races, especially in the Derby, and the 1 Parsippany. Is that the 1? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the 1, that's Doug O'Neill's horse. Yeah, so I put him in, you know, to try to get some kind of price if we're going to bet an exacta. I mean, if we're betting, you know, a pick 4 or a pick 3, maybe you want to single, like you say, you're going to single your horse, or maybe I would single my horse. But I was trying to look to maybe make the price, you know, a little bit better by betting an exacta. So that's basically it.
Well, it's a real good racing day for June 6th here. They've got other stakes races at Belmont and Santa Anita, so it's going to be a real good day of racing. And speaking about a good day of racing, I said it early in the show that I'm going to start a new gig. I have a new gig.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I'll be handicapping for Louisiana Downs. Opening day is tomorrow. I won't be on air. I won't be on video. But
you'll have your picks there.
I'll have my picks.
They'll come up on the screen.
They'll come up on the screen. But probably next week or the following week, I'll be on.
Yeah, that's going to be
great.
great. Maybe you could have me as a guest on the.
Definitely. Well, you know,
who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know how much time they have.
You know what? I tell you one thing. And again, I'm not hedging, but I'm used to handicapping stakes races and real good races. And Louisiana Downs has some low-level claiming races. They're pretty difficult to handicap.
You got to come up with gimmicks.
It's not going to be easy, but one thing you know about me, I'm going to put the work in. You know, and let the chips fall where they may. But it's not very easy to handicap $5,000 maiden claim is $5,000 open claim is state bred races there, and you know, I'm going to do the best I can.
I just want to give a shout out to my son for helping us out doing this podcast. He's he wears all the hats. He's the producer, the director, the technical guy. He does it all. So I just want to give a shout out to him and tell him thank you very much.
And I also want to say, you know, Lee, believe me, next week we're going to be tied up. We're not going to be doing a podcast next week. We got to skip next week because I've got the Louisiana Downs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Friday, my son Peter Jr. is getting married. We're going to we got to go up. We go to Utica.
Utica, yeah.
And we're going to be celebrating his wedding. And I wish he and Shona all the luck in the world. We're looking forward to that. So we won't.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
We'll be
all right, unless Matthew could figure out maybe someday during the week we could do a quick podcast.
I'm busy now. I'm handicapping Louisiana
That's
Downs.
it. Now you're a big shot, and that's it. They leave me in the dark. I'm gonna wind up having my own podcast. Instead of Get Hot, Stay Hot, it's just gonna be Get Hot. That's it. There's gonna be no Stay Hot. It's just gonna be Get Hot.
No, well, you know, I mean, just for 1 week. I mean, I think the people could do without us for.
I don't know.
They probably need a break.
Yeah, right. It can only take us in small doses.
Right, exactly.
All right.
So anyway,
wrap it up.
Well, That's about it, folks. All I could say is get hot, stay hot.